The Merc with a Mouth is back in Deadpool 2, and this time he is bringing some friends.
We need them tough, morally flexible, and young enough to carry their own franchise for 10 to 12 years.
We will be known as X-Force.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
Just a heads up before I start this review, if my voice breaks during this video, it's not because I am a pre-pubescent teenage boy going through some changes. It's because I am a little bit under the weather, but I did really want to bring you guys my thoughts on Deadpool 2, so croaky, squeaky voice it is. Deadpool 2 is directed by David Leitch and stars Ryan Reynolds as Marvel's sassiest superhero. He's firmly settled into his career taking out the bad guys, which is evidenced by a very good opening fight montage. However, a series of events finds him in mutant jail, which is where he meets Russell, played by Kiwi actor Gillian Dennison. Russell is a troubled young man with the ability to shoot fire from his hands, and Deadpool decides that he needs to look after this kid no matter what, especially after a time-traveling mutant called Cable comes after him, so Deadpool forms the good guy group, the X-Force. I had a really fun time with the original Deadpool movie. It had great humour, and I loved that it got an R rating, or actually in Australia it was an MA15 rating because Australian teenagers are used to sex jokes and bad language, I guess. The R rating meant that the writers could be as inappropriate as they wanted, and boy oh boy did they utilise that rating. The original movie was really funny, and Deadpool 2 is no different. However, this time round it is a lot more serious than its predecessor. There are some really emotion driven moments, some that worked really well and some that didn't work quite as much. I understand the need for a comedy sequel to have more depth. The second Guardians of the Galaxy movie is a perfect example of this. However, sometimes the serious moments did take away from the comedy just a little bit. In particular, there is a dream sequence that occurs throughout the movie which just did not work for me at all. That being said, this is still a very, very funny movie. The jokes are in the same vein as the first film. There's heaps of fourth wall breaking and quotable one-liners. The scene where Deadpool hires the members of the X-Force and the subsequent rescue mission are the stand-up moments for me here. I laughed for like 10 minutes straight. Rob Delaney plays a character called Peter in the film, and he was absolutely hilarious. He's put his hand up to be in the X-Force, but he's not a mutant. He is just a regular dude who wants to help out in any way that he can. My favourite addition to the franchise though would have to be the character of Domino. She's played by Zazie Beetz, who I absolutely love. I'm totally girl crushing on her. I love her name. I loved her in Atlanta, and I absolutely love her in this. She's this badass mutant, although I'm actually not entirely sure she is a mutant because her superpower is just that she's really lucky. I do hope there's more of her in the next film though. But we can't talk about Deadpool 2 without mentioning the flavour of the month that is Josh Brolin. He absolutely killed it as Thanos, and he absolutely kills it here. Cable spends a lot of the film destroying things and fighting people, and initially there isn't a lot of dialogue with him, but as the story progresses and we start to understand why it is that he wants to kill Russell, there are some really great moments with the character. Cable also speaks with this kind of like sexy, gravelly voice, like he's been drinking whiskey since he was 5. I'm a Brolin fan. I did also like Gillian Dennison as Russell. He's in this fantastic New Zealand film called Hunt for the Wilderpeople that was directed by Taika Waititi, who also directed Thor Ragnarok, and it's his relationship with Taika that got Gillian Dennison this role. I think he's an okay actor. He's not great, but he is young, so he's got room to move. But I do love hearing that Kiwi accent on the big screen though. First in Thor Ragnarok with the character of Korg, and then again here with Russell. It is about time that Hollywood started to appreciate the noise that's coming out of my mouth right now. Also, just a quick kia ora to all of my Kiwi friends watching this review. Cheer! There were a couple of weak links this time round. The biggest and most disappointing for me has got to be TJ Miller. I am usually a huge fan. I absolutely loved him in the first film, but unfortunately here he just rehashes old jokes and doesn't really add anything to the humour. TJ Miller has been in the press recently for doing some not so good things, so maybe he's just lost his mojo a little bit at the moment. Also, there is some dodgy CGI in this film, oh my goodness gracious. In one scene this jet plane comes down from the sky and it was The Rock in the Scorpion King level of bad. Obviously the budget got stretched a little thin, but outside of TJ Miller and a couple small decisions they made with regard to the storyline, I had a really great time with this film. I think it's a great follow-on from the original, and I'm really excited to see where they go with the X-Force. I'm going to give Deadpool 2 an 8.5 out of 10. If you haven't seen this film yet but you are planning on watching it, no spoilers, but trust me, you'll want to stick around for the post-credit scene. It is one of the best post-credit scenes of all time. so great. That's it for me today, guys. I'm going to go to bed with a cup of chicken noodle soup, but I'd love to know what you guys thought of Deadpool 2, which you can pop in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And a huge shout out to all my new subscribers. You guys are absolutely amazing. You can also follow me on Facebook or Instagram if those are your social media platforms of choice. Thanks as always for watching. I will see you here for the next one. Caw! Okay, so I wore this t-shirt intentionally and obviously I did not think it through properly because the camera cuts it off right before the image, but it is in fact an unlicensed Deadpool t-shirt. Now you guys know.